Today we continue with part 2 of our HO scale railroad kits Dannen feeds build. So when we left off, we had finished staining our trim pieces. So now we're going to paint our trim pieces and our walls. We're going to use the sponge method to apply our paint to give it that peeling paint effect. So for the trim, we're going to be using white. Next, we're going to add a couple drops of white paint into our palette. Next, we'll take our sponge, dip it into the white paint, dab off the excess, and let me put a weight on here to hold these down so they don't move around. So now get a little more paint and mask it off. And now we will flip these over and do the other sides, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so now we have our trim pieces painted. So now we'll move on to the next step. The next step is to add nail holes using a pounce wheel. We're using the finest pounce wheel made by Excel. So on the peaked end walls, we're going to put nail holes along this line, along this line, and along this line. On this one, we're going to do them along this line, and along this line, and along this line. Okay, now we got our nail holes in place. We're going to tape the pieces down to this piece of cardboard and paint them with burned red paint using the sponge technique. Okay, so we've got all our wall pieces taped down to the piece of cardboard with blue painter's masking tape. Next we'll take our palette and put some burned red paint into it. One, two, three, 4, 5 drops. And then we'll thin it down a little bit with some water. We don't want to make it into a wash. We just want it to thin down a little bit. So that it flows better. So now we'll mix this up. With our paintbrush. And see what the consistency looks like. Looks pretty good, because we'll add maybe 5 drops of water. Let's make it 10. Okay, mix this up again. Alright, that looks a lot better. So once again, we'll be using our grout sponge to sponge on the paint, so to give it that peeling paint effect. Okay, we'll do this like we did our LCL ramp, and we'll go heavy towards the tops and the overhangs where the roof is, and lighter towards the bottom where the wood is more exposed. So we'll get a little paint on our sponge. Tap most of it off. Then we'll Now there is a fine line in doing this. You don't want to go so heavy that you cover up the stained wood behind it, but you don't want to go too light that you let too much of the stained wood behind show. So I think this is looking good right now, so we'll do the rest of the pieces and then we'll be right back. Okay, now we got our walls all painted with the sponge, and we'll give you a close-up look at one of them. You zoom out here. As you can see, we have a nice peeling paint effect. So now we'll move on to the next. So our next step is to glue the trim pieces on the peaked wall ends. We need one here, 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 and here, going all the way down to level with this bottom edge. So what we'll do is we'll flip over our pieces, our peaked wall ends, and then we'll glue the trim onto the edges, and then we'll be right back. So we flip the wall pieces over, and we'll glue the trim along the edges here, 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 and here, and then we'll be right back. And we'll glue the full length piece on and then cut it off once the glue dries. So to do this, we're going to use our tacky glue and a toothpick to apply the glue. Okay, we got our glue in our little dispenser cup. So now what we're going to do is apply it to the edge, giving it an even coat, and making sure not to get it on the painted surface. So we'll spread it out with our finger. Now you don't want to get too much that it oozes out onto the front, even though it will dry clear. So now we'll take our piece, set it down, and then we will Actually, we'll make the bottom edge a little long so we can cut that even with the bottom. And then we'll do the other side. Okay, and we'll take this and smooth it out with our fingers. Wipe away the excess, and then we'll sit it back down. Okay, so now we'll let those dry, and then we'll trim them to length, and then so next we'll continue with the other peaked wall. We'll do the other peaked wall, and then we'll be right back. Okay, now that the trim pieces have dried to the point that they're pretty well set up, we're going to trim them. So we'll start by trimming the bottom ends using our hobby knife. There we go. Here's that end. Now, put that in. And double check we didn't get all the way down to the end. So we still need to take off a little bit. Alright, we can trim that down with our emery board. So let's do that now quick and then we'll be right back. Okay, we got the bottom trim pieces flush with the bottom. So next we'll use our flush cutting pliers to cut the top trim pieces even with the top roof edge. Okay, now we'll use this cutoff here to glue to that area right there on each of the peaked roof pieces. So we'll glue that and then we'll be right back. Okay, so after that dries, we'll cut it even with the top of the roof and use the remaining piece for the other peaked roof. Okay, to cut this end here, even with the bottom edge here, we're going to use our thin beam square. To do this, we're going to place our square against this edge here, and then we'll transfer a line here, and then we'll cut straight down through. And then we'll finish the cut all the way through. And then we'll square it up with our emery board. Right, so as you can see, we've got that piece cut, and it should be even with the bottom edge of the other trim piece. Okay, now we've finally got our trim pieces glued to the peaked roof walls. So now we'll move on to the next step. Okay, next step is to remove the windows and the doors from their sprues, clean them up, and paint them. We'll be using our sprue cutters to remove the windows and the doors. So we'll do that, and then we'll be right back. Okay, now we get all our windows and doors removed from the sprues and cleaned up the edges where they were attached from the sprues. So now we're going to mix up some black and pewter gray paint. Thin it down a little, not to the consistency of a wash, but just thin it down a little and apply it to the doors and windows. Okay, now that the windows and door jamb are dry, we're going to use the sponge and the white paint to paint them. Okay, now we got some white paint in our palette. And we have our grout sponge. So we're going to do like we did with the walls. And just get a piece of paper towel here. And we're going to dip it into the white, dab most of it off. We want to make sure to get the tops and the sides and the bottom of the windows. Alright, we're finished with that, so we'll let those dry and then we'll give you a close-up look. Okay, so now we'll give you a close-up. Here's one of the windows. Here is the door jamb. And here is the door. So next we're going to make a wash with our black and pewter gray to apply to the windows and doors. We applied a wash of pewter gray and black to our windows and doors to bring out the cracks and crevices left behind from the sponge painting. So we'll let these dry and we'll give you some close-up shots when they're done drying. Okay, here are some close-up shots. Here is one of the windows. Here's one of the door jamb. And here's a close-up of the door. So this concludes part 2 of our HO scale Railroad Kits Dannen Feeds kit build. Stay tuned for part 3. And now it's time for the Featured Friday Channel of the Week. The Featured Friday Channel of the Week this week is IMRROcom. Host Eric Hall is building an N-scale layout. He has many how-to videos and also obsession videos and various other operation-related videos. I'm including a link to his channel in the description below, so I encourage you to go check out his videos and subscribe.